Hello, welcome to Poker Room Review. My name is Crispin. Today I'm going to give you top 10 tips for traveling as a poker player around Southeast Asia. Tip number 1, travel light. Most places in Southeast Asia, Philippines, Cambodia, Malaysia, they're warm countries. You don't need to bring a lot of heavy clothes. Bring one jacket or a hoodie for the poker room itself because they can be cold inside the casino. But everywhere else, just be super light. You can save a lot of money from luggage if you just take carry-on. Tip number 2, think about how you're going to store cash. Cash is king in this part of the world, and particularly by local standards, you're going to be walking around with a lot of it. So make sure you keep enough at the hotel, make sure there's a safe, and ensure you have safe ways to carry it around, etc. So, your money belts, those kinds of things, have it under your clothes, satchel bags. I left my bag in a subway once that had the year's salary for a local staff member. Now, thankfully, I picked it up quickly, but yeah, it's a good idea to just be mindful of that. People in Southeast Asia know that foreigners do have a lot of money. I'm not trying to scare anyone. Everyone is super friendly and it's a fairly safe place, much safer than you probably hear about in the media, but still, just be mindful. Common sense prevails. Number 3 is directly related to that. Think about how you're going to change money. Do research before you arrive. Some places have strict limits on how much of their domestic currency can be taken overseas, and rates can vary dramatically, so you can avoid the tourist traps with a little bit of background research. Keep your receipts when you change money because some countries require that you have to prove that you change money into the local currency before changing it out again. It's one of those really annoying rules that can trip you up, particularly in Asia. And also, some countries have crazy limits on their ATMs, not to mention the fees. So bring in as much cash as you can with you to avoid those problems. 4, accept that poker etiquette is different in Southeast Asia. In the West, an entire culture has been built up around not influencing action, not talking in a hand, be careful what you say to other players, spectators, influencing things, all of that. People are more chatty, and some things that are considered angle shoots in the West are just standard fare in this part of the world. So whenever you are new to playing here, be sure to spend some time observing the lay of the land before getting too upset about something. Bad behavior can happen anywhere, including in Southeast Asia, but you need to learn the local rules first before you're understanding when they're broken. 5, be mindful of the difference in incomes. It's no secret that wages in Southeast Asia are low by Western standards, and it can be a little bit humiliating for them if you're throwing around a month's or 2 months' wages without even blinking. So keep that in mind. Tip generously. It really helps the locals a lot. Now, of course, some of the money does go to the house, and that is very irksome, especially for me. I think casinos make enough money rather than exploiting their staff. But nevertheless, despite that, try and help out the local community, try and help out the local dealers. They work extraordinarily long hours under difficult conditions, and it really isn't that much to make their day. 6, kind of related to that, you're going to get ripped off as a foreigner. Don't take it personally, but do try to minimize it. Sensible things to do is to find out how much things should cost. Ask other locals, poker players, etc., the price of various things. So for example, if a taxi to the casino is supposed to cost $5 for a local, let the driver charge you $7. That way, they're getting a tip that's incentivizing them to pick you up, but you're not feeling like you're being fleeced. 7, be respectful to elderly people. I cannot stress this one enough, actually. In Southeast Asia, the respect your elders mantra is taken to an extreme. Really, you want to be mindful and polite to everyone, of course, but remember your please and thank yous and smile when dealing with elders. And honestly, I know for some areas that's not supernatural, and you're not being rude. If you're from Germany or Eastern Europe, you're naturally reserved and you being respectful in your distance. But actually in Southeast Asia, you want to be a little bit more effusive in your positivity. And that also goes for people in authority. Immigration, casino managers, police. This might seem obvious to you, but boy, do I have some stories about Westerners throwing their weight around, trying to bully people to get their way, and deeply regretting it. It's not a place to mess around. Number 8, take advantage of apps. Most Southeast Asian countries are surprisingly advanced when it comes to their tech you can do on your mobile phone. Download rideshare apps, delivery apps, etc. This will make your life so much easier, whatever you do and wherever you go. Whether it's food, entertainment, transport, accommodation, you can manage it all from the poker table in most places. Number 9, allow extra time for things. If you're like me and you plan your day like clockwork and expect things to happen in tight time frames, then in Southeast Asia, you need to adjust your expectations. You're in a region where things just take longer than you imagine. People spend a lot of time in queues. There's a different waiting culture for things. There's a different work culture. Not everything will be available all of the time when you go to a restaurant or when you're waiting for a poker game that's supposed to start, for example, at 5 p.m. You might be waiting an extra hour or so for the game to get up. This is just one of those things, so expect it. And if you expect it, then you're not going to be disappointed by it. Number 10, book in a holiday break during your poker trip and make sure that you take it. You know, the Philippines, it's a 7,000 island archipelago with some of the nicest scenery, beautiful locations, and lovely people on earth. Cambodia has its incredible history, architecture, food. Book a break from the tables and really get out there. Mix with locals, see the nightlife. The region is incredible. You don't want to go all that way and just be stuck at the felt all of the time. And on top of all that, I'm giving you 2 quick bonus tips. Number 11, for many of you, you will not be used to the busyness of Southeast Asia. You are in some of the most densely populated areas on the planet. The sense of personal space just isn't there. People are going to be kind of coming up to you and talking to you and touching you and in loud areas and things. Just roll with it. They don't mean anything bad by it. It is super fun and you will actually get to have a new experience. This was one of the reasons to go to Southeast Asia in the first place. And number 12, don't be anxious. Southeast Asia is one of the most remarkable places on earth. It's super welcoming. And although, it might seem very different at first, you will fit in really quickly. I have a friend who's a really good poker player. She's a lady. She's pushing 80 years of age. It took her months to be convinced to take a trip to Southeast Asia for a poker tour. And the moment she got off a plane, she didn't know what she was worried about. It was the most incredible experience, and she keeps going back over and over to this day. So you can do it if she can do it. Get out there, have a great time. And if you have any tips for yourself, please leave them in the comments down below. I'm sure everyone would appreciate them. There are many viewers from that reason, so you can jump in as well. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.